So let me. Ah, no, 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 no.
What?
Give me just a second. Relax.
Oh, you said we're live.
Relax. You're premature. You had a premature live post there. All right, we are live.
Are you sure this time?
I am sure.
All right. Let me pull this back up since you had me stop for a second. You had me stop in the middle of launching it. All right, here we go.
The Guardian Radio Network presents the official DoD Podcast. The only place where dads can be 100% correct, 100% of the time. Don't tell your mother.
What up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome to DoD Podcast. I'm your host, Too Loud TX. Here we are today with my episode 26, I believe it is. And we got Null Zero. What's going on, buddy?
Not much, man. Drop the heroes, get with the zero, like always. Got a lot of fun stuff happening tonight, so stick around. We're gonna be dropping the heroes.
Dropping the heroes, and shout out to you on your Twitter because we've been giving you a hard time because me and Hambone surpassed you, and Pope's got us all beat on the Twitter account. So if you're listening and you're a fan of Null Zeros, make sure that you hit him up at
Show me a little
Null
love.
Zero on Twitter. Show him some love, everybody.
Show 'em the love, baby.
Yeah, and the man that wishes he could aggro boomers without his sissy bubble, like I did with my hunter this past week. The hater of all things hunter, Mr. Pope Bear. What's going on, buddy?
You know, are you going to take the one thing that Titans have in this world away from us? I mean, we don't have a lot, but we have a bubble, right? We have a bubble, and that bubble's important to us. And you're gonna just take it away from me? Nah, I tried my bubble. I did my bubble. I helped Crota. I helped a bunch of people through Crota this week, and I can be proud to say that my bubble makes the boomers angry. My bubble brings the boomers to the yard like nobody else.
You want
Oh,
to try
my
that one more time?
Mhm.
Rub it?
I haven't started
Bubble?
drinking yet. Yeah,
Is that a boomer?
my bubble brings the boomers to the yard. They're like, it's better than yours. Okay,
Oh, I like it though.
Grasping at straws.
sorry.
Uh,
Sorry.
well, the man that fell in love with a beautiful redhead this week and is ready to consummate the relationship. Her name is Red Death. Mr. Hambone, what's going on, buddy?
Oh my goodness, I have finally found the one. I'm telling you, I am committed.
I
We
saw the
are
tweet
making
went viral.
plans for late spring next year, so everyone is cordially invited. I'm marrying that girl. She's sexy. But no, Red Death has been awesome. I'm so thankful after the patch that pulse rifles are relevant.
They are, and I'm sad that I don't have one. So,
Oh, come on, we'll get you one.
I know.
Back to the Volta Glass.
Yeah, here we go again. The first of the three guests we have today is a well-known guest of ours. He's a close friend of ours, and his name alone makes me hungry. DeepFriedDave, what's going on, buddy?
How you guys doing? Hey, thanks for having me. I'm honored to be on the show with a Destiny icon. Tinkkz, it's good to finally meet you.
Nice.
Well, our next
Well
guest
played,
is
sir.
also a close friend of ours, and you may have seen her on some of the Dads After Dark streams, or caught her on the TNT show on Tuesday nights. The girl that we let kill us last night in PvP just so we could be
Oh,
nice to her.
yeah.
Yep.
Miss
Yeah,
Tinkkz, what's
okay.
going on, girl?
Hi. I'm so happy to be here. You guys tried to keep me away as long as possible, but I'm here.
No Tinkkz. No.
Well, thanks for being here for sure. And I had to give you a little tease about the PvP because we ran into you last
We-
night.
by accident, yeah, and we kicked your asses actually.
Yeah.
No, I think what I remember is the four of us saying, you know what, I think it would mean a lot to Tinkkz if we throw this game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure you tried really hard. I
yeah,
could tell.
we did. We as a matter of fact, I think Hambone went .25.
Yeah.
That's how hard he was trying.
Weaseled twice during
got
the same
Excuses.
game.
It sounds like a lot
Yeah,
of excuses.
that's a lot of
Same
excuses.
game. Weaseled.
Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
Weaseled. And then the very next game after that, you saw that we destroyed people. So, it
No,
was
I
just
didn't
some
say
technical
that.
difficulties.
No.
Oh, check Twitter. It's on there.
I sounded
proof is in the
ridiculous though
pudding.
the whole time. I was like, "Oh my god, I killed Too Loud. Oh my god, I killed Poke Bear. I killed Ambo."
Mm.
Well, our final guest is someone that we are very honored to have on. He brings us those secret messages from the tower and tells us what to expect from the hidden rooms at Bungie Studios. The man of many accents that we found out during the ride last week, Mr. DeeJ. What's going on, sir?
Good to be here. Thanks for having me. And sorry, my webcam doesn't work tonight. I left the Twitch studio at work, and I'm all busted up here in my game room. So you're just gonna have to look at my avatar. It's probably better that way. This show is all about you, but happy to be here. Excited to talk to you, and get down to business.
Well, we're excited to have you on, and thanks to everybody that's joining us tonight. I'm super excited to hear what you guys have to say and share with our community workshop that we're going to be doing tonight. Real quick, before we jump into the show, I want to say obviously thanks for joining us. I know that you guys usually hear the weekly update that we read each week that DeeJ gives us and the patch notes, but this week we'll actually leave that to you guys to go and check out. So make sure you jump over to Bungie.net and check that out this week. And also, don't forget to shoot over to dadsofdestiny.net and see what's going on over there this week. There is a great article by, I believe it's Klizmo. Is that correct, Dave? You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's about late night gaming and is it bad for your health? And it's a really good article. He did a great job with it, and also. Yeah, well, you could. It just depends, right? If you're like Zero, where you stay up all night long. So, and as always, don't forget to jump over to the DoDPodcast.com for links to all the great content that we do during the week. Well, without further ado, let's get started with episode 26.
Bottles up, Guardians.
Please drink responsibly. Silly kids, drinking is for adults only. Don't drink and ride your Sparrow. Drinking has been known to increase your aim. Individual crucible results may vary. If you have a buzz lasting longer than 4 hours, contact the speaker immediately. No lawyers were harmed in the making of this disclaimer.
Well, as you guys may or may not know, we have a tradition on this show, Mr. DeeJ and Tinkkz, that we actually share with our community a beverage of choice we're having along the ride of the podcast each episode. And sometimes it's been things, as simple as water that guests have brought along, like Dado. Sometimes it's a soda. Sometimes it's an adult beverage. Most of the time it's an adult beverage, to be honest with you.
Come on. Come on.
But this is kind of our tradition. So I got to ask Tinkkz first. Tinkkz, how prepared did you come tonight? What do you have for us?
I went to the store after work and I bought my favorite beer. It's called 805. And it's local to California. It's a blonde. Yep, Cali Life. It's a blonde ale, and I drink it. I usually like it in the summertime because it's super refreshing. I don't think you guys can get it. I'm not sure if anyone out of California can. It's Central Coast, and it's a little bit sour, and it has like a mild hop presence, maybe to like moderate, but it's really good. It's my favorite.
Well, I'll have to try it when I come to Cali in a couple weeks with No Zero. So
yes,
we'll have to give it a try.
805. It's also an area code in Cali.
What about you, Mr. DeeJ? What are you enjoying this evening?
I'm drinking a glass of red wine. It was a gift from a co-worker at Bungie, a member of the Bungie team. His name is Dave Matthews. I'm not talking about the Dave Matthews that you might have grown up listening to. Not that Dave. I'm talking about the Bungie artist. Equally exciting for us, but he did a lot of great work on Destiny and also other games that I've played, other Bungie games I played before I got to work there. So it's always fun when you get to know those guys. And ever since I moved out here to Washington, I stopped being a beer snob, of which I was ferociously in Chicago, and I'm actually kind of drinking red wine now. So people are turning me on to different stuff, and I'm just sipping it. because I don't want to be drunk on this podcast. So I'm just
There
going
you
to
go.
sit with it.
Oh, is that what oh, I thought we were okay,
No, see,
think
One
this
of these
isn't.
get
This
drunk
is,
so we could kind of get him to slip information. He wants to
yeah,
see.
this is the plan.
And then this other thing is going to happen, which is going to be
This is
awesome.
gonna be amazing, you
Everybody's
know.
getting icebreakers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
sweet.
You should
You
see
get
what
an icebreaker.
you should see what
get an
Zor's
icebreaker.
bringing out next week.
The Oprah Winfrey Show with DeeJ.
All right.
Oh man. What about you, Mr. Dave? You know the tradition over there. What do you have for us tonight?
I went a little different route tonight, and I have a bourbon whiskey,
Uh-oh.
Four Roses, small batch.
Oh,
A little something.
And,
A little
it's
something.
it's got a little oaky flavor. I don't know. It tastes good. It's really good.
yeah, you
So
had
that's
me
all I know.
at whiskey. Yeah, I was gone at that point. Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It's all gravy.
No, Brian,
Yeah.
but this one you got to pop the cork on it. You can't just screw the cap off.
Oh, so this
Oh,
is like one
wow.
of those
Yeah.
expensive things that you
Yeah.
guys speak of.
You
Yeah.
can't get it in the ghetto. Sorry.
Was it not at Bevmo?
Wow, Tinkkz.
You
I,
couldn't
my
find it at
my
Bevmo?
my comment was subtle. Yours is just a little. All right.
The hate is real.
Yeah.
What
let's
about
not do
you,
that.
Pope? How's your stomach doing tonight? Are you able to
Yeah,
enjoy
you know,
an adult beverage with us?
the doctor said that I could have one or two a week, so you know, I'm a little bit better, and I brought a little surprise for you guys. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this up to the camera.
Uh-oh, I know what it
What
is.
is it? What is it?
Shine.
Uh-oh. Look at the little shiner box.
So if you guys, listeners of the podcast, remember that Troy and or Too Loud and No Zero are from Texas, and they love this beer. And I was able to find a place here in California that sells it. So I'm trying it for the first time. I've just popped the bottle, and immediately I gotta tell you, it's a good beer. It tastes good. It's not heavy. This is it tastes like something that you could just probably have like at a barbecue, right? You know, just out there in the sun and not. It's not. It totally goes away from California style beers, but it is something that you could just really enjoy. You'd have it on an everyday beer kind of thing.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good beer. What about you, Brian? What are you enjoying?
Oh man. Well, today I'm just keeping it kind of simple. Of course, I went to Bevmo, so that's not even a question. But I
Of
got
course.
myself some Guinness.
But wait,
And-
you can't just have one.
Well,
you always
come
have to be double
on.
fisted.
You know, there's
There you go.
always gotta be two, man. So I'm still working on my rye. But you guys know I'm always double fisting it, trying to keep it on point over here. But yeah, look, got a little dark with the light, trying to mix it up tonight.
Dark with the
Oh,
light.
that rhymes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
there
saw.
you go.
I saw that.
Your skills.
You don't even.
What
When's
about-
Bevmo
what about
gonna
you?
Sponsor this show.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, they have to sponsor. That's what I
At
keep
this
telling
point,
them.
I'm like, it's been almost like 19 weeks in a row that I've had something from Bevmo.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure they'll be reaching out. They got to be reaching out here shortly.
What about you, No Zero? What are you enjoying tonight?
I am drinking a Day of the Dead beer. It's Hefeweizen. And let me
Ooh.
you can see
Oh,
it got some pretty cool art on the
that's
front.
a nice bottle.
Yeah. It's really
Nice.
good, man.
So
it's,
for
I've
those of
learned
you that are listening to the podcast that can't see, that are not watching it live, it's got a what would you say? That's a like it looks like a
Day of the Dead type.
yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of what the name of
Hold
that
it
art
still.
is.
Whoa, hold it still. All right. So that's traditional, like in Mexico, especially in like the Oaxaca region, they have this. It's like Halloween, right? But it's actually they spend time in the graveyards of their ancestors' graveyards, and they celebrate their families, and it's a really cool holiday. It's not like the Day of the Dead is actually a really cool family gathering, and if you haven't been to Mexico during it, they light up the graveyards with all these candles, and the families go and they sit down and they enjoy hot chocolate and beer, and it's a great time. It means
We
a
just
lot for
couldn't-
Mexican families.
Hambone, we just couldn't make it through this section without some type of educational
I
resource.
was, at
I
least
mean,
he didn't produce a spreadsheet. There was no spreadsheet
Hey now,
detailing like the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. Like nothing like that. And so it was tame enough that I'm cool. I'm cool with it, and
All right.
I actually missed it because he's been drinking lame tea. So that was good. Thank you. Welcome back, sir. Welcome
you.
back.
Well, I'm actually joining you tonight, Pope. But I'm drinking another one by Shiner. I'm drinking their light blonde.
Yep. You and
which is
blondes.
an ale, and I enjoy it. It is very, very good. It's actually my first time to have their light blonde. But as you mentioned, yes, it's from the great state of Texas, and it's a fine beer. So tastes
Not
wonderful.
as good as Cali, but okay.
Right.
Whatever. You kind of brainwash you guys out there, but it's all right. Yeah, I mean, we have some great beers here, obviously, and Shiner's a very, very popular one, and I enjoy it. I'm actually not a fan of the regular Shiner that Pope's drinking, believe it or not. It's a little too heavy for me, but
Yeah,
like
we
all
all know you're a wuss when it comes to beer, so it's cool.
Yeah, you need an orange for that, Troy.
Yeah, do you want some? You want some fruit? You want some fruit for your
But I
beer?
will take a
All right,
lime if
all
you
right.
have
Right,
one.
there
Okay,
you go. I
okay.
figured.
Well, so all you
Sad.
guys may be asking, why do we have 3 guests? And as I mentioned before, we're doing we're kind of titling this podcast "Community Workshop 101." And as you guys, that the community means a lot to us here at the DoD Podcast. And since we have the privilege of having the Bungie community manager on with us this week, we thought it'd be a great opportunity to talk about clans and alliances and the community as a whole. So in order to give a different perspective on these topics, we thought it would be appropriate to bring in some other people that have played big roles in creating the communities within Destiny, given DeepFriedDave being a huge part of Dads of Destiny and Tinkkz being a huge part of Resolute and also the Facebook community page for Destiny. And so, as you guys know, our very own Pope Bear has played a very significant part as the Dads of Destiny co-founder in helping build and structure the great community that we know and love today here over at Dads of Destiny. I had the privilege of working with him and the other admin in the early days of DoD, and I've got to say, Pope knows how to get things done. If you know Pope at all, he can get some stuff done, and he's very good at it. And therefore, due to his expertise, I'm going to ask Pope to kick us off here with our first Community Workshop 101.
Thanks a lot, Troy. I think that's the first compliment you've ever given me on this podcast, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do right now. I'm a little taken back. So let me collect myself. When we started thinking about this, and I was talking to DeeJ about how and I'm just going to ask DeeJ and Dave and Tinkkz to just jump in whenever during this segment. But we started talking about what is the, obviously I had 2 great co-founders that helped me, and KP and SSM, we sat down together and we started creating the structure, and we made a lot of mistakes. It was really hard. It was trial by fire. And so one of the things that I was talking to DeeJ about is how can we help those people that are just starting out, that don't have a clan, that they want their clan to grow, or they, not make the same mistakes we made. And I know Dave and Tinkkz are here, like they're in my mind equals to DeeJ right now in their experience in how we can bring this to the community. So I'm going to kick it off with 101. What do you need to do? So DeeJ, I'm gonna walk you. I'm a new guy on BNet, right? I just created an account, and I really want to start a clan. I want to get to a group together, and what do I do? What do I do? What are the first steps that I gotta take?
Yeah, I think the first thing that you want to do is be comfortable on Bungie.net. You want to have an idea as to what we have there and what works there. There are many ways to start a clan, first of all. Like if you're on Bungie.net, if you like looking at the forum, if you like, reading the blog, and you want to see your nameplate in Destiny emblazoned with a clan name, if you want to be part of a team, we can provide that service to you on our website. So go to your profile. You have the opportunity to start groups. And that group can be anything. It can be a bunch of guys that like talking about the game from different angles. It could be people that appreciate the story. There are a lot of groups on Bungie.net that have nothing to do with the game. They're just places for people to hang out and be social. We took that old traditional structure and we added a layer of complexity to it where you can turn it into a clan. You can enable those clan services. So it's a series of steps. You start a group. you turn that group into a clan. As soon as you do that, you get access to a roster that you can control. We invite you to do things like to choose your mission statement, choose your motto, which is really about kind of broadcasting to the world who you are and what they should expect of you, and then at the same time, what you will expect from them if they join your community. So those are the basic things that we ask people to commit to right away, just walking in the door.
And you know, I guess I ask you to maybe just take a step back. Now, when you got together with your group, right?
Yeah.
To design this thing, is this the genesis or the genesis of how this structure was to be set up? Is that DeeJ's brainchild? Like, I mean, you had an epiphany one night and you're like, you ran into Bungie doors the next morning and said, I got it. This is how we're going to create BNet, right?
Absolutely not.
So how was it created?
For me, what I can speak to are my own personal experiences as a leader of Bungie clans, and then as the community manager now, how we think that whole thing is applicable to the Destiny community. But you have to understand that on this show tonight, I am speaking for an entire team of developers, an entire company who, you know, thinks social gaming is important and thinks that being on small, cohesive teams full of people who know each other and trust each other and look forward to each other's company in that game is important. These are social designers, and these are people who design games that are fun to play with your friends, and these are the Crucible designers who want teams clashing in Clash and Control, you know, and Iron Banner, and, you know, people who want established groups of people to play through their raids, and, you know, the behavioral psychologists who are decades smarter than me, who, you know, do nothing but research the player and pay attention to how people behave on the internet and how virtual constructs affect the way people interact, and how, you know, when people go into a medium of entertainment that requires them to play a role and to make a contribution to the experience, when this becomes an actual virtual situation in which they are not just a player in the sense of you're playing a game, but also like a player on a stage, you know, a person who is playing a role. All of these things come together around the seeds that we've planted on Bungie.net, where we can tell you that you can port a team name into the game, and we'll even give you free real estate where you can host a clubhouse. You can appoint a staff. You can, you know, if you just go and look at Bungie.net, you know, if you want to look at our faces or their faces, because I'm cheating and I'm not even having my webcam on. But if you look at Bungie.net, you can see the structure. You know, it's just kind of laid out for you, and you just start pushing buttons. Really, I can see the group that I started back in 2005. I was working in corporate America. I was what me and my friends in Chicago referred to ourselves as recovering actors. I was working in media. I was working in sales. I thought the internet was cool. I had worked for companies that built websites. And so when it was time to play this game and someone said, oh, did you hear in Halo 2 we get to form up into clans? And I went and I started the group that still bears the incept date back in 2005 for the TTL Gunslingers. To amuse myself in playing Halo, I was writing a blog where I was admonishing people for, you know, being mean in voice chat and, you know, quitting games when we had a fighting chance to win. And, you know, the people that read that blog kind of gathered around that message and said, we should actually play together. If we all kind of share the same ideals for sportsmanship and goodwill and respect and all those things. So we started the TTL Gunslingers clan, TTL being our clan tag, standing for Tide the Leader, which was a blog I was writing just about kind of the politics, you know, the social aspects of online gaming. And we wanted the clan to be its own team. We wanted to have a mascot. You know, they are the Gunslingers, but TTL is the brand that, you know, kind of establishes the culture of how that team is going to operate. You know, are they going to be bullies? Are they going to be nice guys? Are they going to be highly competitive? Are they just going to be a bunch of people who like to play together? You have to decide what the flavor of your clan is going to be at the outset. You know, do you want to dominate the entire landscape and be the first to achieve milestone things like Prime Guard was? Or do you want to be like what, you know, Too Old to Play was back in the day, which was adults playing games with other adults, you know, not worrying about what you're going to say on mic or balancing a job and a marriage with a healthy gaming lifestyle, which is really kind of a mantle that you dads have taken over, you know, to say that we're family men, we have a life that's worth living, but we also love to play these games. And with just a little bit of organization behind the scenes on Bungie.net, when you get to go to the game, you know that there's going to be people waiting for you, looking forward to your arrival, who will say, well, we know what we're doing tonight because we talked about it on the forum already, so let's ride. You know, let's not try to figure out who's going to do what in orbit. We have a plan, so let's go and have fun, because how often do you really get to sit on your couch and play that game?
Right, and so I guess so you're in that role where you've gotten your group together, and you've got you've got your mission statement, right? And you're going to get out there and you're going to promote your group, and I see that a lot in the forums, like people trying to get other people to join their group. How do they do that on BNet? How do they get their name out there and get people to join them?
You know what I think the best way to do that is to get involved in the community. I think the best way to do that is you got to put your message out somewhere. And I think if people go on the recruitment boards, the biggest problem we have on Bungie.net is something that I'm enormously grateful for. One of the biggest challenges we have in curating the community on the website is that everybody is always posting that they're looking for people to play with.
Yep.
And there are people who say, no, this is the board where we discuss gaming, and this is where we talk about the games we love and the games we're playing that are not Destiny, which is great. You know, like, play a bunch of games. Right. I'm making appearances in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare for reasons I'll get into later on during the podcast. But there should be places to talk about the other games you play, or what you think it means to be a member of the Bungie community, or what you think of Bungie, and what's your perception of us as developers and a company that hopes to entertain you. And you should be able to go to a board where you get help, and you should be able to go to a board where you can just talk about Destiny and aren't the Vex shiny. I mean, there should be a board where you can go and say, I'm the leader of a clan. Here's what I believe.
Right.
Here's why I think people would like to play with me. And here is a link to the clan I started on this site. Once you get really savvy, there's also the opportunity to, like, from your own forum, start your own threads that are public threads that port themselves out to the forum. We're making sure that that's working properly, but it's also something to keep an eye out for, because the more people know about you, the more people see, you just kind of take a chance. You shout into the void, but and
I think a lot of that is I think that's a lot of that experience is what I felt when we first started Dad's Destiny, and it started gaining traction. It was just trying to get out there and get people going. And Dave, you remember when we were first creating the mission statement and what kind of creating our identity and our presence on BNet?
Yeah.
When did we start? When did we find that, like, when we were outgrowing BNet? What was that point? Like, if you're a clan leader now, I guess at this point, the new clan has already started, and you've got your mission statement, you got your group of people, and you've started to grow now, and you're finding that maybe you're going to want to create a presence offline. What did that look like for Dads of Destiny?
I think the hardest thing that we always had a challenge with, and from the get-go, it started off as a group, right? Because when we started, we didn't even know what the clan structure was. The alliances weren't even announced yet, if I remember right, because this was before the beta.
It was before alliances. We had to actually reset everything when the alliance system came out.
Right, because once they announced alliances, I remember we were all just like, well, we better go just make every clan name we could ever think of so that we owned it, and then, moved people that way.
DoD, Alpha, Beta,
Charlie, Ghost,
whatever the first 20
whatever, they were everywhere.
Go squat on the brand, boys.
That was kind of why we tried to put those warnings out there too, and it was a little difficult to really say you want to start a group this way or you want to put this group of people in this group over here. But before the game launched, it was difficult to even populate a clan system because those services hadn't been activated yet. And, let me assure you, these things get built like right up to the moment when the game ships, and we're like, and clan system's on, so.
But, from the get-go, we were about, a group and a community first. And obviously the thing that attracted me right away was the dad vibe, right? Finding the mature group that doesn't have a lot of time to play, and that's what everybody was joining for. So right away in the forum, it was about the excitement of Destiny coming out, but it was about advice and helping each other.
Right.
And as you continue to grow, those messages kind of got lost here and there, and we wanted to make sure that the community was kept. The community vibe and the talks and discussions was the first thing. When you came into the forum or into the group, that was the first thing you saw, because that's what attracted us, and that's what kept us all there. So that's kind of where the challenge started, and kind of led us into the next, I guess, supposed generation of services.
Yeah, because there was a lot of talks at first, right, Dave, on the forums that were dad topics, right? And this is kind of where we were molded around, where these dad topics of, things about your wife when she's pregnant and all these different, situations and just funny things that guys were, never met before, were opening up and doing and talking about and were laughing about. And, I even showed my wife some stories and we'd laugh. And it's other people's experiences of being a dad and being a father.
Right.
And that's where these experiences molded around. And that was obviously the foundation of where we started. And as you grow and you get these, we got more and more people. We're like, kind of what DeeJ said earlier. Instead of those topics of what we were trying to hold together as being a dad and these topics, we started getting those other topics at the top all the time, right? Like, hey, I need somebody to play with. Hey, does somebody play this? Hey, does somebody play that? And that was a great thing where. Actually, and I don't know if you've seen it, Tinkkz, or if you've seen it, DeeJ, but one of Dave's big project was the Dads of Destiny database, and he actually created this database.
I love the name.
Yes,
the name is so good.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
And you can go on there and you can find people that are in your region. You can find people that play on the same type of console as you, and so it was a really cool thing. That was a big mold at the beginning of Dads of Destiny for us, and it's been something that continues to grow, and it's even over at dadsofdestiny.net and just continues to get wider and wider. So it's been a really cool thing to see that kind of evolve.
And we've got another experience here, right? Tinkkz, how did so you represent what, a couple different groups?
Mostly the Facebook community page, I think, is the biggest thing, because for me, I started playing Destiny on console as really my first real console game. I played on PC, and if Destiny was on PC, I would be playing it there. So when I started playing Destiny, I had about 4 friends on PSN and 1 friend that played Destiny.
And now you have 5.
500, okay. So I couldn't even get Devil's Lair done, like legit. I struggled through Devil's Lair for hours. People would leave, and when I found that, I actually looked on Facebook. I had no idea about BNet either. I had looked on Facebook for this page and Mesa Sean and Tony had created from a Killzone community, and they were all talking about Destiny on there, and so they kind of got kicked out of there and started their own page. So there was something there that was similar to the database, where it was a bunch of PSNs, and I just kind of went down the list and added them all, and my list kind of grew and grew, and I always had someone to play with, and the experience of the game just completely changed.
Well, how do you manage? Tell us more about the Facebook page. Like, how is that structured and managed? How did that get started? Like, we heard how it got started, but how do you manage that?
Well, there's specific rules, and everything has to be Destiny related, and there's a lot of LFG, and then there's a lot of boasting and bragging about the loot that you get and stuff like that. I think the biggest thing is that it kind of caters more to more casual players who aren't really looking for a clan, maybe, and just want to bang something out real quick, like need to for, the raid, and then it's real quick too. We have, I think, 22,000 members, so you ask for that and bam, you get it. And so I think that it's just a convenient, easy way for people to look for groups.
Okay.
cool.
And so, Dave, when we made that transition, and we didn't look at social media as one of the options for us. We started from the ground up. I remember sending an email or posting a message on the Bungie main forums or the DoD forums looking for web designers.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. No, it was, which is great about the community because you just had people coming in left and right. It's like, okay, we want to build a web page, and bam, you got 100 people. Of course, that's too many chiefs and not enough.
Right, and
Indians,
we pared
what
that
it
down
comes
to
is
like
that you had
Baruco and
wanted to contribute some way. But yeah, you make one post as I can do this, I can do that, and we got a website team together, and started a group just for the website developers and team, just to bounce ideas off of each other. So the community itself is always unique in that, and you see it today. But one thing I wanted to step back on is that I think when we were trying to figure out how to organize things, we would pop into different large groups or clans on VNet and try to figure out how they were doing it. Because at the time, this was before DeeJ 1.0, we were about 800 people, and we were starting to struggle on how do we manage this and go into these groups and clans that are already at 20,000, and wasn't as community based. So I think there's definitely some differences on what kind of group or clan do you want to have. And we decided to go one way, and I think it makes for a different experience, but also a different experience on VNet. There's definitely all the tools and resources there you need to be successful as a group or clan. It's just, like DeeJ was saying, just understanding where they all are and how to use them to your benefit.
What is DeeJ 1.0?
Oh, God.
Oh, goodness.
That was the community focus.
Yeah, so
that's your Bungie rush. That's what tied the leader. That's what we called our Bungie rush.
Yeah, we called it the DeeJ. We called it the DeeJ effect, and the DeeJ effect was legit and started. It was a ×3 effect, right?
Yeah, the first one was.
Yeah, right. So I think they were all roughly around ×3 on the population. So the community focus jumped us, up to 5,000.
Yeah, and then the next one was Forbes that came after that one.
Yeah, and then we had a Forbes article, and then
yeah, people picked that up. That was actually pretty surprised about that, but I think people are always interested in understanding. I mean, games are big business. There's almost no such thing as a person who's not a gamer. Gamer is a difficult word, so there are a lot of people out there, if you interview them, if you focus group them and say, are you a gamer? They're like, no, because that word has some baggage, and we don't need to get into that conversation, nor should we. Let's just talk about why we love games and why we would call ourselves a gamer. But it's ubiquitous now, and I think people are really interested in understanding how the pastime works in every single walk of life. Like, really? There's a dad out there and he plays video games? How? It's like, well, he has an established group of people, and it's no different than softball league. It's no different than poker night. It's no different than bowling league or anything that you do with an organized group of people.
Well, it took a lot of, like, for us. I mean, we're all very different people. At least within the three founders, KP is a very outgoing, like, social person. He was constantly on the forums, talking to the community, and that meant a lot to people that were in the forums. He was very involved in the community, and that seemed to be his passion. I like to be more in the logistics and back end of things and make sure everything was operating. And then SSM was sort of he helped form the admin team and get a lot of the communication links going between all of us. But I think that if we're talking to those clan leaders out there that are listening and are wanting to know how this gets big, and they want to do something like Dad's of Destiny or Dames of Destiny, or there's groups like Tied the Leader and your Resolute group that is built off of that social media back end. I think the biggest thing that we had was good communication and teamwork at the beginning, and each one of us realizing that we brought something to the table.
Right.
So one of the things we were looking at for services, Dave, if you're wanting to keep your population happy, what are some of the things that, like, the hard lessons that we had to learn to get, to keep them happy, right? Like, DeeJ, you can answer to this too. Like, there's different types of things that are available on BNet, but Dave, you created something that we affectionately called the database, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and how that helped our group grow?
Yeah, well, it started off because understand the three founders is KP is in the UK,
right?
Stop Shooting Me is in Australia,
right?
And Pope's on the West Coast. So to organize anything,
yeah,
the moon has to be just at the right angle at the time and once a month, and so that was difficult in itself. So it started off with 100 people, and we're like, how do we even communicate to each other on how we're going to play together? So it was just a simple idea of here's a form, and if I can figure out a way to put a spreadsheet in anything, I'll do it. So it was a form that you filled out on Google Forms, put it in a spreadsheet, and it spit out a report, and you filtered it by time zone, or we even I want to say there was the PVE scale. So on a scale of 1 to 10, you play PVE or PvP. You kind of rate yourself and rate your group and your clan.
That's cool.
So people knew what type of player you were. And then it just kind of evolved from there. So it ended up being around 8,000 people, because it's kind of hard to not force people to register, but to direct them there. But then the thing that was really cool, it really didn't help too much on the over aspect, but it had a geo map on there. So every single person was on the globe map, and all the dots were color coordinated to their council. And then if you clicked on the dot, it was in your region, you could see their tag or stuff about their kids or their families or whatnot. But that really helped us, because like you guys said, somebody said, everybody that's coming in, you come into a clan or a group of 10,000 people, and the first thing you want to do is, how do I support this, and how can I find people to play with? And it's not easy sometimes, especially I was never in a group or a clan or on a forum before I found the dads. So I understand, you just come in and you don't know what to do. So us as admins would kind of push people and show them the tools that we had. The database was a great start, and it was still a little challenging for someone that's coming in and never been in that experience to say, hey, just add people. And I mean, there was a column that's a question that said, do you want to be added, or do you want to add people, add friends? So I just kept telling guys, we all did, if you see it on there, it says add me, add them, add a dad, get your friends list built up so that you always have someone to play with when you jump online, at the very minimum, right?
And I think, obviously, one of the things, like you said, is at first we accepted everybody. I mean, everybody that wanted to join Dads of Destiny, and we still do, everybody that wants to come on board, come in, like come. And it was one of our struggles as well, because we were also trying to manage the clan aspect inside of the alliance aspect on Bungie.net, and there was that clash where it's like, okay, who started the next clan for us to send people to, right? And we had this crazy situation going on.
Lesson learned there. That was a bad deal right there.
And so I put up micromanage these clans, and so I'm interested to know how DeeJ, how you and Tinkkz as well, how Resolute, or maybe some of the other clans that you've been in, because Tinkkz, you've also played some PC games that you had clans and stuff like that in as well. So both of y'all, I'm interested how your groups recruited and allowed people to come in.
Well, before you guys answer that, I threw up on the stream. This is off of the Dads of Destiny .net website. It's the geo map, and it gives you an idea of how we're spread out all over the globe. We have people in like Saudi Arabia and Turkey, Madagascar, and Angola, Chad, and 628 people in Europe, 44 in Norway, and Scandinavia. That we're heavy in the United States, but we have people in New Zealand and Hawaii and South Korea, 133 people in Australia. It gives you... What's that?
Zoom that in. Click on that.
Which one do you want me to click on?
Yeah, just show them. Just pimp it out.
Which one's more console?
Yeah, more consoles in Europe. So we'll go to the UK. All right. So this gives you an idea of how the breakdown of our group within the United Kingdom. There's another group here. So if you really wanted to, you could say I was from I don't know, Nottingham, right? Or Derby or Northampton. So I'm right here, and I live in Mayfield. So Mansfield or whatever, however that's pronounced, Mansfield. So there's two people from Dads of Destiny live in this region, and it doesn't say your exact street address, but it tells you that there's two people from the DoD that are there. So it gives you an idea of...
This is nuts. You can zoom right in on those.
Yeah, so this is straight off of...
Couldn't help but notice we're both in the same place. Let's play a raid and then go get a pint if we can.
Right, so that's really, honestly, that's really what the whole idea was, is that we're a bunch of dads that really want to, you can't just say you're in Australia, right? So there's two people in New South Wales. There's 17 people in Sydney. So, let's you can hit up and using these services. So I guess if you guys want to know, if you're creating a clan and you want to know, I'll go back to the Dads of Destiny website to give you an idea. The reason why that it's so important to create a presence, like when our group started to grow, we created the Dads of Destiny website, and I can take no credit for this. I helped the genesis of the idea, but there were some really talented web designers that created it. Jeez. We have the player locator, the looking for group, the lots of different ways that people could get involved in the community. We link our partner groups, but the idea behind that was to create. And I'm switching back to our chat, but the idea behind that was how do you create community, and with such a large group, and I really, it was amazing the diversity of groups we had within the Dads of Destiny, because if you're starting up a group, and no matter how big or small you are, the answer to this is really to create something where you have a goal, a mission statement. And for us, it was creating a place where dads could feel, can connect to other dads and feel part of a group. And so a lot of our services, like the forums and the database and the player locator and all that stuff, was focused on that. So that might not be your thing, but whatever it is, and like the Facebook group, it's if I'm speaking for you, Tinkkz, it's the idea of quick access to. It's that social media thing where dads aren't, maybe the social media thing isn't our thing, but for a lot of people, maybe quick access to a bunch of people, 20,000 people on Facebook is appealing, right?
Right.
So I guess if you're a clan leader and you want to grow and you want to create something, find that service or that thing that you can provide for your group, and it will grow, right? And for us, it was these services like we have on our website. But I guess our next section here is kind of the what's next section, right? We are always thinking about, now you've got your group, you created it, it's growing, and how has the Bungie community surrounded, like, DeeJ, you seem surprised by happily surprised by our player locator thing and the database, but how surprised were you when you started to see groups like really polished websites like the LFG, Destiny LFG, and different Destiny Tracker, for example? I'm sure you're familiar with them. Sure. How surprised were you with these third-party companies and the quality of their websites?
I would say that we were not surprised at all. I was personally relieved. I mean, that was the dream of the Destiny community. It wasn't always supposed to be on Bungie.net. It wasn't supposed to be supported 100% by in-game services. Even in Halo, when we had a clan system and clan matchmaking and clans on Bungie.net, there were still great groups that emerged out of their own homespun clubhouses. And that's really when this stuff gets cool. when people band together, not just to play games together, but to create something together and to create a home that they can enjoy together and to create these media installations where they're creating their own brand. You know, their team has a heart and a soul and an identity, and, you know, they're playing a role on this shared stage. You know, they're kind of injecting their own tribal ingredient into the overall scene. So Bungie.net is for many people, and if anybody is watching this and they see these satellite maps where they can call in an airstrike and all this other crazy stuff that you guys have over-engineered for yourself, I mean, like, please don't assume you have to be this, you know, techno-savvy to start a clan or even to join a clan. I mean, you could go to Bungie.net right this minute, and you could, you know, this is accessible to any player. That's why I like clans, is because they're enjoyed at so many different levels. You know, like I'm looking at the clan recruitment board on Bungie.net, and some guy named Iserman315 shows up, drops a link to his Destiny Tracker profile so anybody can inspect him and see what he's all about. Shows up and just says 32 Warlock, Titan, and Hunter, Grimoire 2510, PvP, raids a must, PvP a must. I want to be in a clan that is 18 and over. Time zone is North America Central Standard Time. I'll be checking this thread daily. Immediately, somebody says, I'll invite you to our PvP group, brother. You know, just like right up front, you know, that's the dream, you know, like you're going to be part of a band of brothers. And this dude says, most of my time has been playing Lone Wolf, about 90%. It would be nice to have teammates. That's where this stuff starts. But once you start to overgrow Bungie.net and you get it into this advanced citizenship that you guys are promoting, that is where the clan system really starts to become something that you create, and we can take a look at what you guys are doing. One of the things that DeepFriedDave said that I found fascinating is he said, at, you know, the inception of Dads of Destiny, they looked around and they said, we have too many chiefs, not enough Indians. And the only thing that is worse than that is too many Indians, not enough chiefs. Yeah. That's where you get yourself into a lot of trouble. And that's where you need to say that if somebody says, I am your leader, I am your clan leader, that person that you're saying that to should be able to play a game with you. Right. If you're a gamer and somebody says, hey, I'm your clan leader, so listen up, everybody, your immediate reply should be like, yeah, sounds great. When do you and I get to play together? Because if you're my leader, I should play a game with you. Yeah. If you're not playing games with me, then you're not my leader. You're just somebody who's suggesting something that sounds good. But I'll do it over here, and you'll do it over there. And if that's the only way you two have a connection to each other, you're not really in the same clan. You know, like, think back to movies like Braveheart. William Wallace knew all those dudes, which is why he was able to ride back and forth on his horse and say something that was, well, you know, cool enough to make them willing to do the crazy things they did in that movie. You know, like... Right. This is, you know, these things are based on personal relationships, and that's why the word clan means family in a lot of cultures.
Right. And I think that I think for us, when we started to look at what we could supply our, you know, we could provide for our community in form of services and community, it really blew us away. Dave, do you remember? I think this is something that always threw KP and I back. Is on the early days when we were forming when we had the forum going. The forum is still going. I mean, I was just saying, like in the early days when. Do you remember that story that this guy, his dad was? It's a story that always caught me. Right. I know there's many like it, but there was that dad that was his son was going off to Iraq, and I think that's when it first hit me of what we were doing. But he was going off to Iraq, and he did not know how to say to his son goodbye. And but, you know, like, Godspeed, you know, stay safe. And he didn't know how to do that with his son. And he went to our group, right? He went to the forums and he posted something, and just I forget what the exact title was, but it was something I don't know how to say goodbye to my son. Yep. And the responses from the community were so heartfelt and genuine that it really recognized to me that this isn't just a gaming community, right? It's not just about LFGing it's not just about like doing raids and stuff like that. It was so much more to a lot of them and to me. And I think that's the first time that it really hit me at what we were creating.
Yeah, and it's still that way today. And it's really anybody that comes in today, I mean, still almost 30,000 members, 30,001 will still come in and say, I'm so happy that I found this group. I didn't know anything like this existed. I can't believe there's 30,000 people just like me, dads that don't have enough time. And, you know, stories like that, Pope, and even, you know, if someone, the whole community's hanging on the edge when we'll get guys that are posting on the Bungie forum, I'm on the way to the hospital, you know, having a second kid, you know, and where are you going to see that where there's 150 replies like, hey man, let us know. You know, everyone's just tuning in, waiting to hear how it goes. And that happens, it still happens today, and it happened 8 months ago. I mean, 8 months ago. And it's been the same community, it's been the same feel. And every day, to this day, I still get probably 3 or 4 emails or forum replies of new people that have joined, just appreciative of all that. And it's unique, and it's hard to... I don't have as much time as I used to, but something like this, you make time for it, right? And
well, that's what's really cool about your community that you have here, because your dads and you understand each other. Like if you have to cancel on a raid or something, they're not going to yell at you. Just like not that my clan would, but clans that are you know, not as casual wouldn't understand that as much as you dads do, and I think that's really cool too.
Well, and last week, Tinkkz. Happened last week.
Well, you know, if you're playing with a Dad's a Destiny clan, and your kid wakes up in the middle of the night sick with a fever, puking, you're in the middle of Crota fight, and you go, I gotta go. There isn't a single person in that room that's going to be pissed at you.
Well, and I see that on our Facebook community a lot too, where they're like, oh, if your kid's crying, you need to stop, you know, like it's different. It's just a completely different community, and I think that's really cool. That you guys have created that, because it's something that is needed, because dads can play games too.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that also, like, so there's we are focused, because this is our experience, right? And DeeJ has been there since the beginning for us. And when we first got our first community focus, I talked to DeeJ way back in the day, and he's like, I've been following you guys since the inception, because you did something cool with the alliance system that I didn't think about, like that's something unique. But one of the things that I realized is that there is a lot of groups out there like ours that haven't yet been formed, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're that guy or that girl, that like the Dames of Destiny, right? There's other groups out there that haven't been created that can still provide that community feel. And I highly encourage you guys to go back, start from the basics, form the clan, get a group of people, create a mission statement, start, like DeeJ said, you know, find out what you believe in. Who are you? Go after that. Others will come. There's millions of people in this game, and you can find community, get them access to services, and be in a place where you've created something. And I can tell you that from my perspective, and I'd like to ask Hambone and Troy and everybody here, I mean, I'm sure you guys can all agree that you've created lifelong friends through this that you didn't know before this game came out 6 months ago, right?
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. I mean, I know that us four, you know, we do a podcast every week together. And when I started in Dads of Destiny, it was kind of, you know, you, Pope, that invited me along the side. And then, you know, I knew Null Zero for many years and brought Null Zero in. And then you introduced us to Mr. Hambone over there. And, you know, it's really crazy because, you know, even with DeepFriedDave, we've created these friendships where we're all texting each other, you know, and we have a lot of things in common, and we keep building this relationship, and it's turned into a podcast as well, and something that we can go and help and assist in the community with. So, you know, this is one thing that we've talked about a ton, you know, amongst the four of us, and even with Tinkkz in the parties, you know, that we've done, and it's all about creating relationships, and especially, you know, my personality is that I want to know things about you, right? I want to get to know you. I want to tell you things about me. I want to build those friendships. And I think inside, although we are 30,000 people, the thing that's really cool is you have people like Savvy, which is a clan inside of Dads of Destiny that is a very close knit group of about 100 guys, and they play together nonstop. They create their own challenges. And Hambo, tell a little bit about. I mean, you guys are really, really close, and you're the founder of Savvy.
Yeah, man. We have now we're up to 200, so we had to figure out how do we create Savvy 2, and you can't name the same thing on Bungie, so we just took out a space. So Savvy 2 is all one word, Dads of Destiny, Savvy, and yeah, man, we're super tight. We do a lot of challenges. We just did the fastest VOG run, so we picked random teams, and guys got a month to see how quick they could run it. And that was just to kind of get guys, because you get your groups and your people who you're used to playing with. So we wanted to switch that up. And of course, my team won. But, Hope, you were a part of that, right?
Yeah.
I was losing team?
I was part of the losing team. Yeah, I don't think that anybody that had the opportunity to take part in that clan activity left feeling a loser,
beautiful.
right?
Beautiful.
I feel like everybody
Except for
me, because I'm super competitive. No, I really like, and what's the greatest thing about this is that we created this thing, right? And all these clans formed, and they're all doing their own thing, and doing it in their own way. And you've got Savvy doing their thing, and I'd love to hear from all these clans, and we would love to hear from them at the podcast. What are some cool things that you guys are doing? Let us highlight them. What are some of the stuff that the clans are doing out there? We want to know about it. And I wanted, I guess the next piece of this conversation is what can we do? Like, this isn't, we all have different interests in clans and experiences, but what are some of the things, like the really important things that we would like to could feel would support us in like Destiny 2, in the future? What are some of the things that we can leave DeeJ with, as he scribbles away on his notepad right now? The pearls of wisdom from this group.
One thing from chat that I've been seeing is a hub for whole clans to kind of get together in game.
Yeah.
That kind of makes it, difficult trying to get everybody together and see who's ready to run. And right now, I think most people just do it through party chat, or if you have Skype or, stuff like that.
I find that I get more people not in clan depending on my friends list. It's just easier sometimes to get someone on your friends list than go through whatever outlets we're using, social media or BNet. I find that I just look at my friends list, and I'd really rather reach out to my clan more than I do.
Right.
So, Tinkkz, imagine if you're under your friends list, you actually had a tab that was your clan members, right? And so you could switch to that. So
that roster, that's what I would love to see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be an awesome thing. No Zero, you always have a ton of ideas. Do you have any ideas for or things that you'd like to see implemented with clans and things?
I'd really like to see, kind of what they're saying already is, I'd like to see a way to get into the tower with the clan. We did something not too long ago, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was like, it'd be really cool if we could get 15 people into the tower and take a big picture with everybody after this. And so it'd be really cool to have some kind of playground where we get the whole clan in, or, if, say 3 groups ran through, a raid on the first night it's out. It's like, it'd be nice to get everybody in there to take a big picture and be like, yeah, we did this, and, just kind of rally the troops.
As time goes on, we become so close. It's like a completely different game from playing solo into playing with your clan. I mean, we're all family, and we want to be able to do more stuff together.
Right. So that kind of goes along with that idea of custom games, right? Yeah, and I know that message has been sent loud and clear, but that connecting, and I've heard DeeJ talk about this many times, but it's that being able to socialize with each other, right, in game, and to whether it's the tower or it's creating clan raid nights or competitive clan nights on PvP or whatever. Mm-hmm. But what DeeJ, what are some of the other things that the community is like asking for that you've recognized as just important things for clans in Destiny right now.
Well, there's some of the same things that I would want as a clan leader. You know,
Right.
the gunslingers are a group of people that I've played games with for 10 years now. Some of them are in your chat window right now. You know, these are people who I played Halo 2 with. These are people I played Halo 3 with, and Gears of War, and every Call of Duty since Modern Warfare, and Battlefield, you know, Battlefield Bad Company 2 and 3 and 4, and we have just sort of devoured every single shooter platform that will support a team.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've seen a lot of different types of services in-game, you know. Some of them have mobile apps that work. Some of them have in-game rosters. Some of them have challenges that we as a group of people can tackle. You know, these are things that we pay attention to at Bungie. These are things that I think Bungie helps to pioneer with Halo 2. You know, and bear in mind that was Halo 2. I'm not here to confirm sequels, and I'm not here to make promises about future, you know, games and what features they'll have, but Bungie has a pretty good legacy of supporting clans and also helping to invent that culture, and more importantly, helping the end user to invent and define their own culture, just by asking a simple question like, what's your mission statement? What's your motto? You know, what would you scream as you went into battle? If you told somebody, yes, you're welcome to come on board here, but here's our mission statement. This is what we will expect you to participate in if you're going to be here. Then you make a decision as to who's in charge. You know, who are the chiefs? You know, who are the sergeants? Who are the lieutenants? Who's the general? You know, whose job is it to make sure that people know that you are a clan and that you're recruiting? Whose job is it to make sure that, you know, there's a raid night? You know, I mean, the dames talk about things like raid-education, you know, so you find the different people in your group who want to perform different services and have different roles, you know, and just making sure that we can always support that, making sure that we give you new tools you can use to do that. What you see right now is really just kind of the bedrock. Over time, we'll try to infuse the game with more services like that. But really, guys, the services that you build for yourselves are the best. You know, the gunslingers would always ask me, like, hey, do you think this next game is going to have clan support? Or they wouldn't ask me. They would, you know, just in talking amongst ourselves, you know, like, hey, do you think this game that we're all looking forward to playing to this fall is going to have clan support? And I would say, why on earth do you want this game to have clan support? We have a fully operational battle station here. We know each other. We have each other on each other's friends lists. We have boards on our forum devoted to making a plan to play. 8 p.m. Central Time this Tuesday, we're going to play our first match in this game that's launching on that day. And when everybody jumps in there and they're lost and they're confused and everybody on their friends list is still playing this old game that they just left, we're going to go in 6 abreast or 8 abreast or 16 abreast like, hey, what's up? Watch where we put our backs together and figure this shit out. That's our favorite day of any game we play. So as people who create your own clan services, as people who put effort into finding each other and make a commitment to play together in the, you know, construct of the same mood or the same social agreement, or, you know, not every clan is going to say that they feel like they're in a family. You know, there are some bros out there that are just like, you know what, when I play, I want to make sure I'm on a good team. And I don't care what this guy does for a living, and I don't care if he doesn't like his chemistry teacher. All I give a shit about is when I'm controlling Zone A and someone else is taking Zone B, they're not going to go over and take Zone C. Because only idiots do that, and nobody in this clan does that.
Nobody!
Right.
Oh, jeez. Oh, stop.
Yeah. And, you know, the gunslingers back in Halo 2, you know, Fezer can attest to the fact that, and this is not a knock on Fezer, who's in your chat, in Halo 2, to become a gunslinger, you pretty much showed up and didn't vomit on the floor during your job interview. You know, like, we brought you into a game and we played, and if you picked up the flag and you came with us and you didn't call anybody something that would, you know, make our mother feel bad about, you know, bad for us, you know. You know, it's like, oh, I liked him. He helped you win and he was nice to you. Well, then we'll make him a gunslinger, Mom. You know, and that was pretty much it, you know, like. But now it's like when we go to recruit a gunslinger, it's like, I've known some of these people for 10 years.
Right.
Do I want to let this person, you know, if this person can sign up If I say, hey, I'm going to play Destiny this Thursday and I want 5 gunslingers to join me, I want every single one of the people that shows up to play that game to be somebody I would take over anybody else on the internet. You know, some of these people I have been to LAN parties with in different parts of the country 4 or 5 times. So, you know, if we're gonna take on a new recruit, that person has to be as cool or as valuable to me as a teammate as any of those other people. So for us, the bar is way high. You know, we're like this old secret society now. But for some people on Bungie.net, it really should just be, I just want cool people to play with when I go to turn on my box. And then over time, as relationships grow out of that, you know, combat, then that's what you guys have. And then it's time to go and to create something together. There's nothing I can build into a video game that's going to replicate what you have together. Right. The friendships that you have, the things that you're proud of that you've built together, things like this show, things like your database, you know, I mean, those are things that you're proud of because they were your ideas, and that's why you've had so many members come in and had such good success, is because you're organized and you're devoted to it. And even then, I'm sure that having grown as fast as you have and having taken on as many people as you have since the launch of the game, I mean, any gunslinger would just shake their head slowly if I said these people are trying to manage 27,000 players that they've thrown together in an atom smasher in the past. How long has Destiny been out? Since September?
6 months,
I
yeah.
mean, it took all of Halo 2, for as long as Halo 2 was cool to play, for us to amass 100 people, because that's how careful we were about recruitment. So we are a very different vibe than what you're going for.
Right.
And we've always had good success migrating that same core group of people from game to game to game to game, because for us it's about each other more than any one game. A lot of people have said, well, I love playing Halo more than any game on the planet, but I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get my ass kicked in Call of Duty because that's where my friends are now. And over time they learn to fall in love with that new game, but for us, it's really this kind of movable feast, you know, this group of vanguards, migrant monkeys moving from tree to tree, picking the first-person shooter fruit.
Well, I wanna thank you guys, all of you guys, for coming on. I know that I know DeeJ, this is your Friday night, man, and it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be to convince you to talk about clans. I realize how big of a nerd you are with clans, and I really appreciate that, because it's nice to have an advocate in Bungie that will continue to look and develop tools for clan support, because this group in the lobby here, and hopefully a lot of people that are listening to the podcast right now, agree that that's how we build friendships. That's how we meet people, and we really appreciate it. To us, it's more than just the video game. It's our friends that we talk to every night. So from the podcast team and from my perspective with Dads of Destiny, yeah, we appreciate it very much.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So we're
Cool.
right. Normally, if you're a normal listener, we have. If you're a regular listener, we usually do a couple different segments. We wanted to focus on the importance. We get a lot of questions to the Dads of Destiny. We get a lot of questions from people in the community of like, how do we grow? How do we become a clan like yours, and that kind of thing. And I hope tonight really helped you out. I know that we have really great help forums, and you're always welcome to jump over to the Dads of Destiny and find us and ask us questions if you want some more advice. But we hope that tonight's been helpful for you. We changed around the layout of the podcast. We are going to be adding back offline. We're going to be adding a couple of the segments back.
They don't trust us to do these segments with them. That's what it is.
Well, I've already
You're more than happy to stay.
I've already kept DeeJ for over an hour, and I told him it would be under an hour. So
Oh, so you don't trust DeeJ? Got it.
right,
Oh, there
right.
it is.
So
Watch 'em.
the segment's on exotics of the week, and I really don't think DeeJ knows much about the exotics, in the game. So
Oh,
shots fired.
Wow.
not a clue.
So we're gonna Yeah, so we're gonna record that the normal segments offline, and we just appreciate everybody for coming. We gotta they'll still be on the regular podcast, but I'm gonna kick my segment back over to Too Loud, and go from there.
So if you guys are new, if you dropped by this week, and we thank you for doing that as well. But every Monday, our new show will come out, and it comes out on iTunes, SoundCloud, wherever you guys want. Basically, if you can find, if there's a place for us to put it, we're putting it there. YouTube, Twitch, every place that we have an opportunity. So feel free to stop by and check us out every Monday. As always, guys, we appreciate all of our guests. Dave, thanks for coming along again. I know we've dragged you in here about a dozen times now, and we're going to keep doing that.
He keeps coming back. He must like it.
Yeah.
He likes it. He likes it.
Oh, he likes it.
Tinkkz, thanks so much for coming by, and we'll have to have you on again. And same with you, DeeJ. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and dropping by and spending some time with us. We really, really, really thank you very much for doing that. As always, guys, thanks for listening. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you rate us on iTunes. Make sure you check us out on YouTube and Twitch /the DoD Podcast. Or you can go to thedodpodcast.com for direct links. Also, make sure you visit Guardian Radio Network for tons of other great news and podcasts. Of course, we got the main Guardian Radio Network show, TTL Party Chat, Warlock School, Ghosts and Echoes. You can follow us on Twitter at the DoD Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at TooLoudTX, NOL0. NOLXERO. Make sure you show them some love this week, everybody.
Also, stick around. We're going to do Drop the Point on stream tonight. It's a new show we're doing on Friday nights, so stick around for that. And come back for it every Friday after the podcast.
Yep, and Pope Bear is Pope_Bear. Hambone is Hambondini, HAMBODINI. DeepFriedDave is DeepFried_Dave. Tinkkz at Tinkkz, that's TINKKZ. And DeeJ, if you don't have his Twitter, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but it is J_BNG. Thanks again, everybody, for listening and joining the show. And until next time, see you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile.
And take care, polar bear.
Live long and prosper, Doctor.
I'm off the clock, Warlock.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm heading south, Cottonmouth.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hasta
Nice.
mañana, iguana. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
I can't show up to guests, man. I just can't show up to guests. You know what I mean?
Man.
Yeah,
You didn't
good
even
job,
try.
guys. Good job.
I had to give you a win. It was like a toss-up.
It wasn't a toss-up at all.
Thanks, DeeJ.
Good night, guys.
Thank you, DeeJ.
Bye.
Good night.